So awesome. We are live, and good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. PL Steer here back on my channel, Dragon Kingdom Saga, for 6 elemental interviews. And this afternoon for me, we have an awesome, fabulous author, great person. I have had the pleasure of reading one of his books. I haven't read the main one in the series yet, but I will definitely get there all in good time. So I've read about That Was Lost. Awesome. I believe it was a surprising, again, fabulous book. This author is an SPFBO Semi-Finalist for his Ringlander 1. So we'll talk about that more later. But just here to welcome Michael S. Jackson. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, it's been a day. I've been dadding it up like all day today, so I am officially exhausted. But I'm here, and I'm going to go through this. I'm going to do this thing. So if I fall asleep halfway through, just like shout really loudly.
I hope we can keep you entertained enough to keep you awake. So honored to have you here.
I'm standing up as well, so I'll probably disappear sort of off the side. But yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Like I said, I know dad life is tough, but I'm sure your kids appreciate you for all you do. So thank you for being a great dad. So you are, like myself, an independent author. And obviously all authors, independent or otherwise, have a journey to how they got to where they were. So I want to kind of take the journey from the point of where you first start to think that you're going to be a writer up to the point where you decide to enter your book in the self-published fantasy blog of SPFBO. So if you kind of give us a little breakdown of that period, kind of highlights, and how do we get from there to you putting your book in SPFBO?
Cool. It's a story I like to tell, actually, like becoming a writer, because I've done a lot of creative stuff in my life. Like I've done a lot of, I've creating stuff has been my jam since I was old enough to do so. Like I started playing drums when I was sort of 15, and I thought that was too late. I thought that was over the hill. It wasn't. 15 was like 35 years ago. Calm down. 25 years ago. So it wasn't too early. But same thing happened when I was like thinking about writing. I remember exactly where I was. I was at a train station. I'd just been to watch my wife trialing to be a violinist in an orchestra, and I'd left her, and I was heading back to my home in Glasgow, in Scotland, and I'm standing on the platform, and I was reading, The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. Of course, everyone knows The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. And I was on the 14th book, and obviously that was the one where he was very sadly passed away, and Brandon Sanderson took over. So I'd spent the last sort of like 5 years up to that point reading the series, and that's how long it takes. It's a big series, like book 14, and it was like this size, and I was sort of kind of halfway through it, and I was standing on the platform, and I was just like, I don't know if it was the fact that Brandon Sanderson sort of took over. I started thinking of it less of like this sort of encapsulated product, this thing that was like somehow mysteriously made, magically somehow, and it was a collaboration, and it got me thinking. And I was like, well, if these guys could do it, maybe I could do it. And it was at a time in my life where I was I'd been in a band, and we were making a set of zombie shorts, and it was so not shorts like trousers. I mean like short like films. That would be weird. But short films, and they were called Bad in Skies, and we were like, I was just throwing myself into it, and I was handling the script for it, and I was really enjoying the actual part of writing. And I'd been playing drums for a long time, and I'd been like a designer for a few years at that point, and I just loved this idea of like a narrative that didn't involve sort of visual cue or anything like that, and it was total creative freedom. But then the band sort of stopped, and the Band in Skies project sort of fell away. And to zip us back to the future, I was standing on this train platform, just thinking about like well, maybe I could be a writer. And it just didn't go away. It was like a seed that just sort of like a thorn in my head that just stayed there. And that was a summertime, so it was early May sort of time. And then around the sort of summer, I started dibble dabbling with writing. And about 8 years later, 8 years later, Ringlander book 1 was released. So that's the shortened version of then I wrote a book.
Well, that's an awesome journey. So you write the first book, and then you throw it into the great beyond of the incredibly well known and fantastic writing contest, the Self-Published Fantasy Blog Off. Mark Lawrence, of course, a very well known and popular, awesome fella, traditionally published author, best-selling books. He creates this writing contest where you throw in all these books from self-published authors, and it's a battle royale to see who emerges the victor. There's different rounds, semi-finalists, finalists, and of course the overall winner. For that year, I believe you were a semi-finalist. And so tell us about that journey, like getting into self-published community, how the contest played out for you, what you learned. Did it help boost your book and things like that?
Totally. Excuse me. So the SPFBO 7 was awesome. Like, I've always had a problem in my life where if someone doesn't not tell me to do something, then I'm just going to do it until someone tells me to not do it. And then when they tell me to not do it, I'm too stubborn to not do it. So what I end up doing is accidentally committing to writing an entire fantasy series, just out of pure spite and stubbornness. But I accidentally stumbled into this total love of creating through writing. So, but I spent those 7 years sort of like trying to actually be a good writer. Like, I had the ideas, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew that I loved world building. I knew that I wanted to escape the reader to a different place. But I was just so bad at it. I was just like, the first few drafts of just, I can't even look at, I can't even think about them. And I happened to know a couple of authors who were traditionally published, which was awesome because they helped me sort of understand how the biz works. And but I got to this point where I was just like, well, no one's going to really do this for me, and I'm not gonna spend years and years approaching agents and waiting for publishing. So I worked in sort of product design, so I thought, well, if I can like own this as a product, then maybe I can just do this myself. And I realized that this fantasy genre was perfect for indie authors. It was just like, it's just so rife with great, like, entrepreneurial, great writers. I was like, I'm going to be one of those. And then the SPFBO 7 came up, which happened to be the year, or the number. I think we're on. Is it X? 11 is about to start? Is it?
Yeah, I believe it is going on right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was like 4 years ago, and I just thought, I'm just going to go for it. And I did, and I put in for it, and I got sort of designated to a set of writers, and I just sort of sat and waited. And it's funny how much of the perception rests upon like subjective opinion, and it really was down to just one writer who happened to read what I was doing. And it's a big task. Like, these guys they're so good to give up their time for this. It's such a massive honor to the community. The SPO 7 readers, like, they are just the best people. And I was very, very lucky. I think I got someone who just really vibed with what my book was about. And he said some really nice things. And then he chose it as his option, which was like totally befuddled me. I was that was me in the semi-finals. I was just like, okay, this is cool. I didn't get much further than that, but it was a taste of like, wow, this could be a thing. Yeah. So I've been doing it since then, basically.
Well, that's fabulous. And again, congratulations to the semi-finalists. Tag flags fly forever, and that will always be an accolade that you can use, because it's a really tough competition. A lot of people don't make it that far. There's some brilliant books who don't make it to semifinals. There's brilliant books that don't make it to the finals, right? Again, I know that some of it is the subjectiveness of the judge. Having been a judge, I totally get it. But still, I think you should definitely feel proud of your accomplishment to make it to semifinals, because it is a huge achievement. So kudos to you. How did you did it affect your involvement with the indie community? Did it feel enhanced? Like, I know a lot of people get involved in Discords and things like that, and they meet a lot of, especially if you're a semifinalist, you start talking to some of the other semifinalists and maybe the finals, etc. And you form these little groups, and you how was that whole experience with you in terms of the community?
I guess I had actually, this is going to sound incredibly self-serving, but I had actually won an award for some website work that I did, some website design work, before as I was becoming to be a writer. So that's such a dickish thing to say. I was no stranger to awards. No, but I really didn't think of that much of it, because I was so happy to get it, obviously, but I kind of blew past it really quick. I love the creative journey so much. That's the thing that really fuels me. If you can make some people happy along the way, then wonderful. I've never been one to write to market or anything like that. I really do just do whatever the hell I want. And hopefully those two things cross over at some point. But because it does help if you got some sort of modicum of audience that enjoy what you do. But I sort of blew past it and started. I love the whole process, talking to artists and art directing, and then creating artwork based on stories that you've written is the coolest thing in the entire world. So I just kind of jumped into that world and then just carried on. And then obviously when I wrote the novella, I actually have the novella just purely for visual cues. But you'll recognize it. It's a bit blurry, but I got through this. And I wrote this when my wife was on maternity leave. So we just had our second child, and or was it third? I can't remember. But she was on maternity leave, and there's really, as a husband in maternity leave, it's not a huge amount you can do after you've cleaned the house. There's sort of this. You're kind of like, "Are you okay, darling? Can I fluff the pillow? Can I do something? Do you need a drink? No, okay, right. Just leave you alone. Got it. I'll play some GTA." And so I wrote this book. So I was like, well, I'm gonna go and write a novella. And I used my month off, and I literally wrote 20,000 words inside of a month. And it was I'd been waiting to start it, clearly, and it didn't change actually much through the editing process. I think I just it was waiting to be written, and polished it, got it out there. You were very kind to take a copy and read it, and it was a chance to do something a bit different, just kind of play around with style and stuff like that. So it's a bit more aggressive in its candor. It's a bit more sort of heavily character focused, and then leans into one single, a sort of orientated around this one single event, which is a precursor to the thing that happens in book one. So it's a prequel in that sense from the story perspective, but I think you get more because of the flashbacks and the work that's in there on the characters. I think you probably get more out of it if you actually read the first book first and then read the novella afterwards. But yeah, I kind of jumped into the battle that was lost and just started writing that. And then after that, I jumped into book two and just sort of started writing that, and that one took off, and that one's out there now. And then in a crazy sort of conversation that I was having with someone from the Broken Binding, it was the word Kickstarter was mentioned, and another seed was planted, and that was about sort of 7.5 months ago, 7-8 months ago, and I've been working really hard since then to build this Kickstarter. So that's what's coming next.
Well, we're definitely going to get into the Kickstarter. We're going to definitely get into all that, especially the Battle Was Lost, because again, I loved it. I have not read the other two books. I will definitely be doing that. TBR is there, but I was so honored for you to send me a review copy. It was awesome. 5-star read, definitely. But quickly, I want to talk about, so after you became a semi-finalist in SPFBO, just to finish out the SPFBO train and how things have been going. Did you find that boost for your work? Did you feel like it helped, give you more exposure? Did you feel that, relatively the same? Did things take off in terms of your notoriety, your book? How did that all work out for you?
Yeah, really well. It didn't take off. It wasn't like suddenly. I don't think I've actually had a moment where I've thought, yeah, I've totally made it. And I think that's just I do have a fairly modest outlook on things, and because I love the process so much. So it's like, oh, awesome, some people are reading my book, someone's bought my book, that's great, and I do just move on. But there were some things, I guess, that it was so cool to just. I think I got a message from Mark, or I think it was a reply on a comment, and that was just so cool.
Yeah.
I also run an author interviews website, so I've had a couple of conversations with some pretty highbrow authors, and that is just always the coolest thing in the world, is talking to people that I respect so much from an art point of view. So I've chatted to Andy Weir, the guy who The Martian and Project Hail Mary, so good. And my personal favorite, Joe Abercrombie. He's kind of I hope he never watches this, but I absolutely adore the guy. He's fantastic. I've met him once in Dublin, but I didn't really say very much because I wasn't sure what to say. I sort of turned into a little girl and lost my voice.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I want to quickly talk about that too. Your author interview stuff. Yeah, it's great. I always say meet your heroes. I had the privilege of meeting, for example, Mark Lawrence, one of my favorite authors. Actually in your neck of the woods in Glasgow and in Worldcon, and he's just a warm, wonderful, amazing gent. Another great father. He does so much to take care of his especially his daughter, and of course, absolutely fabulous author. And it's funny how you can get tongue-tied meeting your heroes, but typically when it gets down to brass tacks, obviously they're just humans like you, and they're just writers, and they love talking about books, and it's all good. So, but I do want to find out, a bit about the whole author interview stuff. Is that something you do as a blog, written, or do you do it how'd you get into that?
That's a cool story. I was literally working in my day job at that time, and I think it was the first, or it must have been the 2nd of January, the first day back to work, and there was nothing on, and everyone was away, and I had stupidly not taken the Friday off. So I was in the office by myself. This is pre-COVID. I think it was 2018 or 2019. And I just this little flash of inspiration. I thought, author interviews, and I love buying domains, so I checked for author interviews, and I was like, authorinterviews.co.uk. No one owns this. How does no one own it? So I just bought it, and then I had to do something with it. And being a web designer, and I really love front end code, and I was like, it's a great project to sort of keep your skills sharp. So I just started doing it. And it also kind of helps you kind of talk to authors, because it's about authors. And so it was great to talk to some. Mark Stay was my very first author on the site, and I loved talking to him. He's such a cool guy. And it just went up from there, and it's really self-sustaining there. It's the highest rank website for author interviews. So if you type in author interviews at Google, it beats the Times and the Guardian and all these sorts of it's huge. I get lots of inquiries every week, which unfortunately I was just I just don't have the manpower to respond to every single one of them. But it's cool. I try and kind of make it a place for all types of authors to just kind of talk about their book, and just like what I'm doing just now, just kind of speak a bit and push their wares. I don't charge for it either. It's all just sort of free. This sounds like I'm advertising my author interviews. That's not that wasn't my intention.
Well, congratulations. That's amazing. I totally didn't know how popular your author interviews was. Kudos to you. That's fantastic.
Thanks.
I hope you're proud of that too. I guess it's something for we authors to aspire to one day, have an author interview with Michael Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. This is the top level, is having an author interview with Michael S. Jackson right there. You know you've made it when you.
Yeah. So no, but that seriously, that is amazing. So congratulations. I have to go start reading those. I have to
Oh, they're
catch up.
so good. It's so cool hearing what like the message that comes through thick and fast from every author. Is just write your first draft. It's going to be crap. It's going to be rubbish. No one's going to enjoy it. It shouldn't be seen from anyone's eyes except your own. But you'll get to the end of it, and once you get to the end of it, you'll have the motivation to then turn it into something that's worthwhile for the world. So that's the message from basically out of what it must be about sort of over 100 authors, maybe somewhere close to 200.
Wow.
The messages are very similar from all of them. Is get through the first draft. Just write.
Yeah, and that's a great message, a very wise message. I think that we all definitely would probably share that as authors. So getting into the work. So can you give us a quick pitch elevator about what the Ringlander series is about? Like, give us some information about that if you don't mind.
Flavor. Yeah, so it's a coming of age story about a young girl who is from a Sami tribe. So for those the uninitiated, Sami is like a Mongolian sort of tribe from that lived across sort of Russian and Scandinavia a long time, and there's still some left. But essentially, she gets like embroiled in the enticing incident very, very quickly. It's like literally the first sentence. She's like killing someone, and we were sort of dragged into a drama and a conflict straight away. And I love the way that Joe Abercrombie sort of releases information as you read, and the way that when we first meet, excuse me, Logan Ninefingers in The Blade itself, and it's just that stuck with me. Just that sort of like boom conflict.
Yeah.
Who is this person? Well, how can you, what's the best way to learn about a character right there is how they act in like extreme circumstances. So rather than kind of, like the winds and all that sort of stuff, the winds of time and all, and this sort of thing, and info dump, I literally just threw the character in and let her do the talking. But it's as I say, it's coming of age sort of dark fantasy that sort of takes place all the way through a war that's happening between a species of like superhumans called the Boar, who are very big, very large, very monstrous. But they sort of keep humans as these sort of cowed individuals, and they control all the cities. And we're at an inflection point when the book starts. And Kira, the main character, comes back to find that her dad is missing and gets pulled into a world of sort of game and city life that she's just not really prepared to deal with, and the world kind of takes over from there. There's a lot more going on than the war. There's gods involved, there's portals, there's science fiction, there's fantasy. It all starts to kind of come together and tear apart and fall to pieces, and it is literally what I would describe as the end of the world viewed through someone's eyes, who's got her own things to worry about, and increasingly becomes sort of more and more aware that her very limited perspective is just a very, very small part of what is essentially a big, big piece that's going on. So that's book one. And then into book two, the same thing happens. I don't want to spoil it, but one of the characters from book one carries on through book two, and it becomes worse and worse and worse for them.
Oh, I love that pitch. I love that. I absolutely love the aspect of, character doesn't understand that they're just a small piece of the puzzle, how expansive the world is. That I love books like that. So yeah, and I absolutely, again, shame to, TBRs is horrible. I've had your main series books on my TBR for so long. Can't wait to get to them when in the future. But so just to confirm, is it a duology? Is it a trilogy? How many books in the series are planned or are already been published?
There's two main sort of feature books out now, which is the first book, which is about 130,000 words, called The Path and the Way, which is this one. If I'm pointing, anyone can see that picture. Yeah. And then there's the second one, which is called Fallen Shards, which is just released this year, or was it this year? No, it wasn't. It was like November last year. It's been out for about 5-6 months. That's out now, and there's an audiobook in production for the Fallen Shards one. There's an audiobook available for Battle That Was Lost and The Path in the Way. Absolutely fabulous narrator called Ulf Bjorklund. He's working on the entire series with me. So really, really cool guy. Great voice. He's a Swedish American. He's just absolutely beautiful intonation. Like a lot of the, being that it's sort of Sami inspired, so it's sort of less, it's like northern tribes, but less Viking orientated and more sort of Sami tribes orientated, sort of nomad-esque Inuit tribes and things. These people are very practical and they approach problems in a very pragmatic way. But there's only so many ways that you can approach like a reality tearing portal in a pragmatic way before it really starts causing problems in your life. But Ulf is he's a Swedish American. He just escalates what I've written so to another level. It's just the way he pronounces things and everything. He was asking me. He pronounced this particular word like Taya, which is one of the names in it, and he asked me if that was right, and I was like, well, it's not what I had in mind, but I actually prefer the way that you say it, so let's just go with that.
Oh, that is awesome. So sorry. So just to confirm, is the main series a duology? Do you have more books planned in the series? What's?
Oh, sort of dodge that question. So it's currently planned as a trilogy, but I'm toying with the idea. I don't mind telling you, of going into a fourth book. I haven't quite decided yet, but the epicness is becoming more epic, too epic to handle for potentially a book 3. So I'm toying with the idea of a fourth, but kind of like what Ryan Cahill did with this Bound and Broken, with the novellas sort of slotted in between. I think that's a nice sort of template. I think I'm very tempted to go that way.
Okay, all right. So there's one novella right now, The Battles Lost, out. So there may be more novellas to accompany the main series. Is that what I'm gathering?
Definitely be, yeah. Okay. There's going to be so if there's 4 books, 3 or 4 books, there'll at least be another 2 novellas that I've got planned, potentially 3.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I got time to catch up. So that's,
you've got time.
And a lot more to read. So that's fabulous. So of course, I have only read the novella, the current novella you have out. I Was Lost. Again, so privileged, that honored. Thank you so much for sending me an arc. It was great. I think when I sent him a review, at the time, it was the shortest book I'd read that year. And I would at the time, especially, wasn't a big novella person. I prefer the chonky or fancy. But what I said, it was a real testament to your skills, and I was completely enthralled. Like 57 pages, I was like signing up. I was there. I couldn't put it down. I was, it was just fabulous.
Thanks.
And it just convinced me that I got to read everything from this author. Now, again, I'm going to let you expand on what about as the author, but for me, okay, it's set in this fictional land. Rengas, I believe, is the place, yep. And it's this. You think of all these legendary battles. Think of legendary battles. Badon, Ancient Court. It's this legendary battle, Drakemere, and that's the focal point. And you got these Boer forces you talked about, these dominant forces, and forget the pronunciation. I think it's Tisyork, like the rebel. Okay, like the rebels, right? And the rebels. I mean, things look hopeless. they look, like no chance, right? That's what it looks like. Because these boars, I remember you wrote, like, they're described as this cross between like a man and a bull. And they're twice as tall, and it just, there's no way, right? But then you introduce these characters, these interesting characters, that just you wonder, like, is it hopeless? Just these characters seem so formidable, you know what I mean? And you just wonder, could they make it out alive, even if they don't win the battle, etc. So, nice. But what I really admired is that you did so much character development in this small picture. All these auxiliary players that were just amazing, and you would think, oh, there was no space for world building, but you had these flashbacks, and the writing was really, I mean, it was just great. Of course, the action was just incredible, right?
I could listen to it all day, I swear, man. Honestly, this is fantastic. Thank you so much. That's such kind words.
No, it's the truth. Like the fight scenes were great. They were quick. They were brutal, bloody. The way, for me, it should be, because that's the horror battle, right? But you did have the the balance lines. You had the glory of victory and egg defeat kind of thing. But tell us about the character, because I'm a character focused reader. So can you tell us about the characters and the character work you did? How this ties into a bit without spoiling too much to the main series?
Yeah. Well, I think it comes back to sort of what Joe does again, Joe Abercrombie, because like when you introduce like straight into the action, when you release details to the reader, like through the conflict that's happening on the page, which happens very suddenly, and like you judge people on how they act in those moments, right? Well, that leaves loads of questions as to how they came to be like that. Yeah. And like with the found family thing that Joe does with Black Dow and all that sort of stuff, he starts like releases all these lovely details about how they became to be like that. Yeah. And when you throw in Morally Grey into this scenario as well, it becomes so good. It's just like it becomes so alluring as a way of like instead of the hero, like you're talking about the anti-hero, and the battle that was lost was like a bit of an eye-opener for me, because as I say, it was ready to be written. I think I was ready to write something like this after following the MC and the pragmatic winner of book one. Yeah. Now we're following two mercenaries in the novella who are essentially bad people. They make bad choices and they're thieves and sell swords. But we absolutely, like, you just fall in love with them because they're just so funny, and the way they talk to each other is so crass. There's a few points in it where I was like, I can't write that, and I was like, and the very fact that I'd had that thought, I was like, you have to do this now. You can't. So the book deserves this, and so I did it, and dropping a couple of C-bombs in there and stuff, and I was doing a reading of it in my own garden, and I got to that point, like when I was doing the very first take, and I just cracked up laughing because it just like made me laugh so much. And I won't do it here. I won't spoil the surprise, but it took me a couple of takes to get into to just get through that set of lines without giggling. But yeah, it was a really fun experience. And when I took that into book two as well, so I took that foresight of what characters could be, and that helps. Like the villain, there's a villain in book one, obviously. And that helps the villain into book two become just something else. And I'm really proud of where he goes. I don't want to ruin anything, but I'm really pleased of what happens with his arc. And I'm really excited to see where he goes and what happens. Like, it's a ridiculous thing to say about your own stuff, but like,
no, not. Yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens.
Are you and leading into that, because I'm really fascinated, because again, love the battle was lost. I love the characters, just like you said. Love the grimdark, aspect. That was fantastic. They're all these really great, being just here. Some of these characters, it was just fabulous. Like, a Stegrim, Lib, you got some real, Core, Kavik, some awesome characters. Are you? So I get the sense that you might be, and again, it doesn't matter how you write or what all these categories, qualifications about writers and how they write, and but the whole typical, the pantser, the plotter thing. It sounds like you're someone who perhaps is more on the pantser, like things come and you're like, okay, that sounds great, I'm going to add it, or I'll see organically how things develop, and maybe some people are rigid if they write outlines and they stick to them, or like, what kind of writer are you that way? Because I get the sense maybe like, you're saying, I can't wait to see what happens, like maybe it's not all planned out.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's a great question, because I have figured this out now, and it was something that Mark Stay actually got me thinking about, with something that he was talking about being a gardener, or being what was the other one? An outliner. And what I like to do is essentially gift my future self. So I'll build the scaffold, like a really sparse scaffold. I know where this part is, I know where this part is, and I know where this part is, and it's a light scaffold. And then I leave pockets of stuff where I know that I'm going to have fun, and I just go, right, Mike, future Mike, there you go. There's a gift. Like, this bit's kind of like this, and you need to take it over there, in any way possible. And that helped me, I think, like, sort of keep things unpredictable. That's one of the best things about reading fiction, is being surprised. And I find that was a really great way of writing unpredictably, was to leave sort of stuff to be explored. And it would be so dependent on your mood. Like, if you were, I mean, I've got 3 children, so I'm generally quite busy all the time. Sometimes you approach the computer and you're tired. Sometimes you're driven, and caffeine is surging through you, like, and it creates different feels and colors and tones in every time. And rather than kind of try and, like, bash it out and have a singular style, like, this is, no, it has to be like this all the way through for consistency. Fantasy's got so much color through it anyway, and so much vibrancy that it almost supports that style of writing, where you can explore and you can garden to your heart's content. I think that's one of the more exciting parts that I find anyway.
Yeah, I got the sense. Yeah, you're a gardener. All the different, all the different alternatives to using that term, gardener or pantser, whatever. So, but yeah, and I guess what better way to surprise your readers and have a sense of unpredictability, whereas you as the writer might be writing something, and it isn't until the last minute that you decide to add something or change or go in a different direction. So.
And if you find yourself being, like, I mean, I'm so bloody minded. Like, if I find myself being too predictable, I'm like, well, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to do this instead. So no, I saw this coming a mile off. Like, no, let's go and do the other thing. And then he was, wait a second, maybe I would have known that I was going to do that. Maybe I should go that back to it. No, but then he would have known. And then for a couple of hours, you go back and forth. But,
well, that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Well, I can't wait to read the rest of your series as it comes out. Hopefully time to catch up and read the first 2 main books, and I'll I already have the novella under my belt, so that's good. So yeah, but definitely gonna read the rest of it. Looking forward to it very much. How has the have you done a lot? So now, as we're leading to Kickstarter, how have you handled and dealt with the marketing side of being the author, and all the business stuff and the entrepreneurial stuff? Like, you got this very popular, well-known interview series, the books, of course, blah, blah, but how are you handling, getting the word out there, the marketing, things like that? How's that been going for you?
That is like the biggest challenge of my entire sort of writing career is marketing. So I kind of work in marketing. I'm, as a UX designer that does web design and front code and stuff, I typically make marketing decisions all the time. But, like, marketers are a completely different breed of people, and that's not me. And rather, like, I'm 42 now, so, like, I'm kind of getting on in the years, and I kind of know thyself as, like, one of these things. I'm not a marketer, so why try to be one? But I do make awesome things. So like assets and graphics and sometimes occasionally writing. So I thought about sort of how I would approach the Kickstarter, because marketing is going to be such an important part of it. So I approached Jamie Lee at the Black Crow PR and just sort of asked her if she wanted to kind of do stuff and have a partnership, and she said yes. And we're like, now that we're just best pals and we just do that. So she helps me get the word out there about what I do, and she's really, really good at it. And then she's also really closely affiliated with the Broken Binding, and I've been pretty pally with them for a number of years, and they've been so supportive and stocking my books and stuff. And So yeah, I think like the two together are it's a great place to be. I count myself lucky every day that these people even talk to me, to be honest. But that's the marketing side of things. Like I'm a terrible marketer, absolutely terrible. I said I did a video actually on Instagram the other day, and I said bye at the end. That's how bad I am.
It is a tough part of the business, but kudos to you for what you do. And yeah, Broken Binding is absolutely fantastic. I think as an organization, they're just so dynamic and so forward thinking and so collaborative with you. I think they're just absolutely amazing. So big shout out to Broken Binding and everybody, Matt and everybody there that are just fabulous. So you're running a Kickstarter, my friend. So
Yeah.
would you like to go nuts and tell us about that?
Yeah, so this is the cool, exciting thing. As I say, it started off with this little idea. Talking to Sean from Broken Binding. So if he ever sees this, thanks, Sean. It's kind of down to you, this. And I went back and forth from it a long time, and then I realized that actually the Kickstarter itself was less about kind of this sort of money-making engine and more about sort of exposure and trying to reach circles of markets. That has literally been my biggest problem, and the biggest challenge of probably of every author out there is finding circles of people that you don't know, because by definition, how do you find these people that you don't know them? So this Kickstarter seemed like a great way of sort of trying to accomplish that. And it was a great opportunity to just make something really, really beautiful. So I just started, and much like with the book one, like when I first started to write, just kind of got going, and each detail leads to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And I mean, even this week, things have leapt forward. I was doing a book trailer this week that hopefully is going to be released in a couple of weeks. And I licensed a song. So I've never done that before. I licensed a song from a record company. That was pretty cool. Yeah, that was kind of, it's like some really ambient, like sort of grimdarky music from Cryo Chamber, and they were just like lovely people as well. And just surrounded by awesome people in this industry. It's just like fantastic people everywhere, and it makes just day to day doing stuff like fantastic fun. At some point, I have to stop doing that and go and be a writer. But at the moment, I'm enjoying just kind of making stuff. And yeah, the Kickstarter's had a lot of interest. It's a project we love, actually, on the pre-launch phase, which is something I didn't know that could happen. I was so excited by that. So I'm really pleased it's going in a good direction. But I'm still not counting my chickens. I want to make sure that it does okay. So I'm spending a lot of time and effort on it just now.
Okay. Can you give us the details about when it might launch? Like, when can we expect the
Sure.
launch?
Yeah. So the launch date is the 26th of May. And it's called the Tome Edition of Ringlander, The Path in the Way. So it's this book. Yeah. And it's called the Tome Edition. And the Broken Binding are fulfilling it. So they're kind of helping me with printing and distribution. And we've got Black Crow PR on board to help me tell everyone about it. And Peel House Press are releasing it. So that's pretty exciting.
Well, congratulations. That sounds fabulous. Please, folks, go check that Kickstarter launch out. I have no doubt that it's going to be beautiful. Broken Binding my own special editions are behind me over my shoulder there with Broken Binding. With Broken Binding, and they are Broken Binding, again, as Michael's alluded to, just a fabulous outfit to work with. So I'm so excited for you, Michael. This sounds fabulous. Any other touch points you want to hit about the Kickstarter that you'd like us to know?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I could literally talk for days about it. It's a very special edition in that it's got loads of great artwork in it. So one thing I sort of really wanted to focus on from the beginning, I worked with some fantastic artists. Like the artist that you see here that did this is John Anthony Di Giovanni. He's done some absolutely stunning work. I'm so happy to be affiliated with him. he's a really busy guy as well. He's constantly working and producing the most beautiful stuff. So when I was looking for an artist for the front cover of book one, I was really happy to partner with him for that. He's done book two as well, and I've got him for book three on the sort of the indie editions of the books that I've released so far. The Kickstarter starts literally, and forgive the pun, a new chapter in my life as well. So being affiliated with Peel House is that I can potentially have a bit more exposure and a bit more of a radius. I can potentially get my books out there a bit further and get more people reading them and into bookshops as well, which is the ultimate goal. So the Kickstarter is the beginning of that very exciting journey. So I'm very, very hopeful that the tome edition does quite well, and it's going to leave me very busy. Lots of printing, lots of packing, and hopefully lots of happy customers. That's the plan, but we'll wait and see.
Well, I'm wishing you all the best of success with, and I don't doubt it will be successful with the Kickstarter. Please check out Michael's website. Check out Kickstarter itself. Go to the Kickstarter website. Back that project. It sounds amazing. And again, wonderful that you're doing this, Michael. Again, wishing you every success, and very, very excited to hear that that's happening for you. So that's awesome. So as we wind down, I would love to give the opportunity to kind of, we talked about Kickstarter. I'll just make sure that you can tell people where to go for the Kickstarter, and of course, boost your social media, your website. Where can people follow you and find you? Where can people find your books? If you have a shop or anything on your website, things like that. And of course, your author, just remind people about your author interview feature where people could find that, because it sounds pretty popular.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm focusing so heavily on the Kickstarter just now. Book two came out just kind of November last year, or towards the end of September, and I did a short sort of blog review tour with it, which was great. It was great to get it out there to people, and it's had some great feedback already. But the Kickstarter has already sort of eclipsed that, and it's still out there. It's still for sale and all that sort of stuff. But the Kickstarter, if it's successful this year, will lead to a Kickstarter next year for book two. Wow. Much like I've been chatting with sort of Zamil Akhtar about how he's managed to do it for his series, and just like he's given me such great advice on how to do things. Same with Zach Argyle. Yes, we've had a couple of chats, and he's given me some help. Both great guys. But if you're interested in what I'm doing, you can visit the Kickstarter, and maybe we can put some links up or something. But you can follow it essentially. So there's a pre-launch page that's up just now that will. You can just kind of follow the Kickstarter, and there will be an early bird prices and things. So there will be a sort of period at the very start where people can get some sort of scarce items and things like that, but they won't be available for a very long time. So I think the pre-launch page is good for, just getting those notifications to be like, oh, shit, go and buy Mike's book. Oh no, let's no work today. I'm just gonna go home and buy this book from Mike. So that's essentially how it should work. But we can put some links up for that. And as I say, 26th of May is when the pre-launch becomes a launch, and then we can start. The product will be for sale. The tome edition of Ringlander, book one.
Absolutely. We'll have those links in the video for those of you that are going to watch the replay, etc. But I have all of Michael's links already in the body of the video when you watch it, to website, etc. So, and the social media links, so you can follow them there. I just want to make sure, buying your books, are they wide on Ingram, Amazon, Gardeners? Are you KU exclusive? Like where can we get all your books?
So there's audiobooks out there that are wide. You can get them on Kindle Unlimited. The ebooks, then you can get Audible for the audiobooks. I'm currently on Amazon and Ingram Spark. I've got a shop, but I've got very, very limited stock left actually. Broken Binding, probably the best place if you want to pick up some Ringlander indie editions, which is essentially here's someone I had waiting. Just
gorgeous.
There's book one, and there's Fallen Shards. There's book two.
Gorgeous, yeah.
And then there's PL's Battle That Was Lost.
Yes.
You can get all of those from Broken Binding for obviously excellent prices. The guys are really accommodating. So that's probably where I would send you, actually, if you wanted one of the indie copies. I'm not sure how many there are going to be of these, to be honest. So probably snatch one up fairly quickly. I have no plans to replenish my stock of them. I think I've got about sort of 10 or 15 books left, but the Kickstarter is gonna, as I say, it's gonna open it's gonna start a new chapter in the way that I produce my work. So that's gonna be, this year is just gonna be so exciting for what I'm doing. So I'm really enjoying it as well. It's a fantastic way to spend your time.
Well, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to reading your work again. Hopefully next time I'm on that side of the pond, I can meet up with you in person. I can't believe I must have missed you in Glasgow when I was there.
I was so gutted to not go to that.
Yeah. I mean, Scotland was my first time in Scotland. It was just spectacular. We spent a lot of time in Edinburgh and went out to Burton Island. It was just beautiful. So, and really inspiring as a writer to see, to see, especially to go out into the Highlands and yeah, it was just amazing. So, but yeah, so enjoy beautiful Scotland, enjoy your wonderful family, your lovely kids and your wife. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so honored to have you on 6 Elemental Interviews. Can't wait to have you back in the future. Look forward to reading the rest of your books. And again, folks, check out that Kickstarter for the tome edition of Michael's first book. It's a beautiful indie cover. I only imagine the tome edition is going to be even more spectacular. So, quickly for me, the same self-promotional stuff. PL Stewart at PL Stewart Writes is the handle for all the social media stuff: Twitter, Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, etc. PLStewart.com is the website. 6 books out now in the John Kingdom saga. A Black Dragon Rag book 6 now out on my indie publisher Freezing Press kind of pre-order thing, and going wide on Amazon, Ingram, etc. on the 18th of May. 6 books out of 7, folks. Just one more book left to finish this series, so nice. I got to get that done. Also, the short story Forest Dark, linked to my John King Saga in Shaper's World anthology. My first foray into fantasy horror. I think a lot of people found that pretty interesting. So, but great anthology. So check out that anthology, please. Shapers of Worlds, Volume 5, for all the brilliant authors that are there. It's an awesome anthology. Don't just read it for my story, but if you're interested, check out Forest Dark and Shapers of Worlds. It's about in the middle of the book, and it's if you ever want an arc, Michael will be happy to send you a copy.
Oh man, I would love one. Please just send me it. Just throw it. And if you're over here, please let me know, and we'll definitely catch up.
Absolutely, would love to. I know you're busy, Dad, so carving out the time is hard.
It's nice to get away from them occasionally.
I hear you. Other things quickly. 6 Element Interviews, where I get to interview fabulous creatives like Michael. And of course, under the Page Turning umbrella, the Page Turning interview series, my awesome partner, Maybe Between the Pages. Check out her YouTube channel. She's also an amazing booktuber. Finally, I'm an assistant editor with Before We Go blog under the wonderful Beth Tablet of Before We Go blog. Crew, shout out Beth and Before We Go blog too. And a contributor with Grimdark magazine under the amazing Adrian Collins and Beth, etc. So, yep. So, folks, I have been so privileged to have Michael Jackson join me. I've been a long time in the planning. Just great that it came together. Go back that Kickstarter. Check out his Ringlander series. Check out, again, Battle That Was Lost was fabulous. 5-star read. Can only imagine the rest of the series is as good or even better. So I'm looking forward to delving more into his world in the future. So once again, thanks for joining Michael and I on 6 Elemental Interviews. And we're signing off. Take care. Bye-bye now.